The discovery. The forest was alive with the sound of buzzing insects and the rustle of leaves moving in the humid afternoon breeze. A small group of hikers walked carefully along a narrow trail, their boots pressing softly into the damp soil. They were enjoying the peace of nature when suddenly a strange sound cut through the calm. It was a sharp, desperate barking, loud, broken, and filled with fear. Everyone stopped. The hikers exchanged worried looks. This was not the happy bark of a playful dog. Something was wrong. They followed the sound, their pace quickening, their hearts pounding louder with every step. The cries grew harsher, almost painful to hear, guiding them deeper into the thick green. Branches scratched their arms as they pushed forward, and one of the hikers whispered, "It's close." Suddenly, they stepped into a small clearing and froze. Before their eyes was a horrifying scene. A strong German shepherd lay trapped, its body wrapped tightly in the coils of a massive snake. The dog's paws scratched weakly at the ground, its chest rising and falling as it fought for air. The snake's body moved like thick ropes of muscle, squeezing tighter each second. The hissing sound it made sent chills through the group. The hikers gasped. One woman covered her mouth with both hands, her eyes wide in terror. Another man whispered, "Oh my God!" They had read about such things, but never imagined seeing it in real life. The dog's eyes met theirs for a moment, pleading, begging silently for help. It was alive but weakening fast. Fear rooted the group to the spot. The snake was enormous, its scales glinting darkly under the sunlight. None of them had ever faced a creature like this. The thought of stepping closer made their legs tremble, but the thought of leaving the dog to die was unbearable. One hiker, shaking, pulled out his phone and dialed the emergency number, his voice unsteady as he explained the situation. The others tried to act quickly, grabbing sticks and throwing them near the snake, shouting loudly to distract it. But the reptile was focused only on its prey, its grip tightening, ignoring the noise. Time felt frozen. Every second that passed seemed like a countdown to the dog's last breath. The hikers knew help was on the way, but would it come fast enough? The forest held its breath, as if waiting to see whether courage or tragedy would win. The struggle, the sound of sirens was faint at first, carried on the wind, but it gave the hikers a spark of hope. Within minutes, the rescue team appeared, their truck tires grinding against the dirt path as they stopped near the clearing. Out stepped men and women dressed in uniforms, carrying ropes, poles, and bags of equipment. Their faces were calm but focused, trained for dangerous moments like this. The leader, a tall man with sharp eyes, raised his hand. "Stay back," he ordered the hikers. His voice was steady, but everyone could see the tension in his jaw. The rescuers spread out quickly, moving with quiet discipline. The snake was still coiled around the German shepherd, its muscles rippling as it tightened, trying to finish the job. The dog's body was limp now, only a faint whimper escaping its throat. One rescuer slowly crouched with a long steel pole, his eyes never leaving the reptile. Another uncoiled a heavy rope, ready to pull. The leader gave a quick signal, and in that instant, the forest erupted into action. The rescuer thrust the pole forward, pinning the snake's head firmly against the ground. The reptile hissed violently, its long body thrashing, slamming against the dirt with frightening power. The ground shook under its strikes. Still, the team did not flinch. Two others rushed in, their hands gripping the coils, pulling hard to loosen the deadly hold. The snake resisted with terrifying strength, each muscle contracting as though it could crush steel. Sweat poured down their faces, their arms straining with every tug. "Hold tight!" shouted one of them. The German shepherd whimpered again, giving a weak sign of life, pushing the rescuers to fight harder. The struggle became a battle of wills, man against nature. The snake's scales scratched and cut their arms, but they held on. Another rescuer brought a hooked stick, sliding it between the coils to pry them apart. Slowly, painfully, the snake's grip loosened, one coil at a time. The dog gasped for air as its chest expanded slightly, the first real breath it had managed in minutes. That small movement gave the rescuers more determination. With one last coordinated pull, they managed to free the German shepherd's chest and neck. The leader shouted, "Almost there!" Don't let go! Every rescuer gave their full strength, muscles burning, hearts racing. The snake writhed in fury, but the team had gained control. The dog's life was no longer slipping away. It was being pulled back from the edge. The rescue, with one last mighty heave, the rescuers pulled the final coil free from the German shepherd's body. The snake thrashed wildly, its tail whipping against the ground, but the leader kept its head pinned firmly under the steel pole. The danger was not gone, but the most important task had been achieved. The dog was free. The German shepherd collapsed on the ground, its chest rising and falling in quick, shallow breaths. Its fur was damp with sweat and dirt, and deep red marks circled its body where the snake had squeezed with crushing force. A rescuer knelt beside the animal, placing a hand gently on its chest. "It's alive," he said, relief breaking through his steady tone. The team exhaled together, their muscles trembling from exhaustion, but their spirits lifted. While two members secured the snake with ropes and carefully dragged it away to be transported, others focused on the dog. One offered water, tipping the bottle slowly against the shepherd's tongue. Another examined its ribs, checking for fractures. The animal coughed weakly, then let out a soft whine as its tail twitched. It was the smallest sign of gratitude, yet it made the entire forest feel lighter. The hikers, who had watched the dramatic struggle with pounding hearts, finally let out cheers and claps. Some had tears in their eyes. "They saved it," whispered one woman, her voice breaking with emotion. For them, it was more than a rescue. It was witnessing bravery at its purest. The team lifted the German shepherd gently onto a stretcher, wrapping it in a blanket to keep it warm. The dog's eyes, tired but glowing, looked at its saviors one by one. It was as if it understood the sacrifice and courage they had given. Even in its weakness, it gave a faint wag of its tail, a silent thank you that touched everyone who saw it. As the stretcher was carried to the rescue truck, the leader gave a nod to the hikers. "You did the right thing calling us," he said firmly. "Without you, it would not have survived." The group felt pride and relief wash over them. The snake, still powerful but now restrained, was taken far into the wilderness to be released, where it could no longer threaten lives. Balance had been restored without killing it, a victory for both man and nature. When the truck finally drove away, carrying the brave German shepherd to safety, the forest seemed to exhale. What had begun as a terrifying scene ended as a story of courage, compassion, and the unbreakable bond between humans and animals. The hikers would never forget the sight of that dog's eyes lighting up again, saved from the edge of death by hands that refused to let go.